The definition of technique: a way of carrying out a particular task, especially the execution or performance of an artistic work or scientific procedure. A skillful or efficient way of doing or achieving something. The squat, the bench, and the deadlift are specific techniques to maximize the most weight in powerlifting competition setting. The technique is specific to you, and if you're a beginner, it will constantly change. If you are an intermediate lifter, it will change every few weeks, and I'll guess that an advanced lifter will change. They will change their technique rarely, if any at all. Sport practice in powerlifting maximizes learning to perform your technique accurately. This means doing the lift in the exact way you're going to lift on the platform. This is sometimes completely different than building strength. As I learned more about powerlifting, the way you build strength is different than the way you build your technique. Now, I know this sounds a little confusing, but bear with me. Technique is always going to be paramount when trying to hit max weights. You can add 20, 30, 50 pounds to any of your lifts, each of your lifts, with technique change. And this is especially if you're a beginner. Why is that? Technique in powerlifting is, in the purest form, is all about maximizing leverage, reducing range of motion. This will allow you to lift more weight. Much of the time, you're building strength in your technique, and when I say building strength in your technique, I mean trying to get into ideal positions for the squat, bench, and deadlift. Bracing your abs tight enough, keeping your back tighter, deadlifting with your hips low enough but not too low. Building strength in powerlifting is almost always about reducing weaknesses, closing that gap. Knowing what's weak is about understanding why you're failing, why you miss a lift, or why you break form in your squat, bench, or deadlift. A good morning type squat where you start to pitch too far forward and your hips rise too soon. This is a common weakness in a lot of squatters when form fails, and that means the quads are weak. This is not always the case, because it could also mean technique could be wrong, could mean back is not set up properly. Lots of other rules apply, other issues apply. Bench press, failing lockout usually means you're slow from the chest, weak triceps, though this is not always the case. Rounding the lower back in the deadlift could mean a ton of different things. Weak core, weak hamstrings, and weak weak technique, starting position. Education, experience, your environment plays a vital role into your growth as a lifter. Having good coaches around, or just basically your environment, I would have to say, the people you work around. One of the biggest reasons why I've gotten so strong was because of my environment. The gym that I started working at 5 years ago, I had a lot of strong people, and it kind of pushed and motivated me, and I kind of wanted to do some of the stuff they did. Unfortunately, I couldn't do a lot of the CrossFit type stuff, but gravitated towards the barbell and kind of found my calling in powerlifting. Earlier today, I thought about kind of putting out my own program and sharing it with you guys, but the problem with it is I don't know how to share it. I don't know how to put it into words, because it's not about rep schemes. It's not about sets. It's not about, I guess volume is still a big factor when it comes to training, but kind of what I think about really is just technique. Every time you lift, every time you bench, every time you squat, every time you deadlift, every time you do a tricep extension, every time you do a floor press, or you do a sumo deadlift, or you do a block pull, you do a pull-up, you try to think about how that movement, that accessory movement, helps you improve your bench, how it helps improve your squat, or how it improves your deadlift, how it's going to make you more injury-proof, how it's going to make you able to tolerate more training stress, how it's going to make you more jacked and tan, more muscular, and just being able to tolerate more stuff. And that's what I think about, and I just don't know if you can. I guess it would be sort of similar to like the RPE scale for RTS training systems, and using that as a sort of way to like somehow implement this training style or this thought process. Maybe it's something that you should always think about, because I will constantly obsess over my form and my technique and just try to get it better, and I would get so frustrated about why I'm not getting better. I'll be following a program and just trying to make progressions, and I'll get stuck and not see any progress for a while, and then I'll get frustrated, and then I'll keep working on my technique, and then I get a breakthrough, and that's kind of how my whole process has been when it comes to training. So those are my thoughts. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Leave a comment below if you have a question, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.